Hello, this is Gary at Jack Raver Bushcraft. Thank you for watching our video. This week I'm going to make a fish spear. I recently read a study that was suggesting that hunter-gatherer peoples in Northern Europe consumed a lot of fish, essentially, so it made up a large part of their protein intake. And so there are different ways that our ancestors, or indeed we, could have fished. So fish traps, fish nets, fishing lines, and so on. But I thought what I'd do here is a fishing spear. So what I've got is a piece of hazel, green hazel. It's relatively straight. It is quite tall, so it's a little taller than I am, but this I think should do the trick nicely. What I'm going to do with the piece of hazel here to make it into a spear, I'm actually going to put 4 points on the end of it. So rather than just 1 point on the end, I'm going to make 4. So I'm going to split the piece of hazel down into kind of like a cross shape, so something along those lines. Now before I do that though, because if I just sort of start splitting down here, that split could end up going quite a long way down the stick. So to stop the split going further than I'd anticipated or wanted, what I'm going to do is put a whip onto the stick. To tie the whip, I'm going to use a little bit of lime cordage here. So I'm going to form a U shape, if you like, and lay it on top of the stick here. And now I'm going to start wrapping this around like that. So I'm pulling these tight, each of these coils. So I want them to be nice and tight there, and laid more or less next to each other, like so. Like that. And before I run out, I just pop that through the loop that's formed and then pull the other end. And what that does is pulls that through and underneath, like so. With the whip in place, I can now kind of split down to it, and that's going to control how far the split goes down the piece of wood. Because this is a long spear, I'm actually stood on a stump at the moment, and I've got the bottom of it just on a log, so that the log absorbs the impact. So I'm going to use my knife like that. I've got the more or less the middle, and now it's going to button down through like so. As I say, the whip is definitely doing its job here, like that. So now take the knife out, and I'm going to turn the stick 90 degrees and do the same thing. Go button down it again like that. So, now extract my knife, put that back away again. And I've now got my stick split into 4. I've taken another piece of hazel and made it so that it is more or less square. And now what I'm going to do is cut it so that it's the same length here as the diameter of my stick, and then I'm going to split it down the middle. I'm going to kind of just push these apart a little bit with my hand and put the little plug in here, like so. So what I want to do is splay these 4 parts of the stick out a little bit, like that. And now I've got the other plug in my pocket, in fact, and so I'm going to put this one in at 90 degrees essentially, like this. So I'm just slide both of them down like that. Oops, just pop that a sec there. And it will more or less stay closed up under tension, like that. So as you can see, I've got the 4 parts of my stick splayed out more or less equidistant. So what I'm left to do now is put some points onto the end of this. You do have to exercise a little caution. Ordinarily I wouldn't be counselling this kind of movement with a knife, but it's actually quite difficult to be able to do a thumb push on it here, because there's not really enough space to get the knife in. So yeah, exercise caution as you are sharpening these. Because whenever you're putting a point on the end of something, there is a kind of a optimum size. So the more wood you remove, the sharper you make the point, the more wood you remove, the weaker it will be. So yeah, the sharper it might well be, but the more likely it is to snap. I'm trying to get a reasonable kind of point on the end of this. I'm now just using the tip of the knife and a thumb push just to kind of finish that off. So there's 4 fairly pointy things. What I'm going to do now is pop it into the fire and fire harden the ends of this spear. That's the tips of the spear fire hardened, and this is pretty much good to go. I hope that was of use to you, something that you can incorporate into your own bushcraft skill set. I'll try my best to get some more content out next week. You make sure you don't miss out on that by subscribing either to our blog or to our YouTube channel, either of which are Jack Raven Bushcraft. Until then, take care.